If you're still copying and pasting between tabs like it's 2025, you need to see this. Google Sheets plus Gemini just changed how research actually works. I've been teaching AI to big tech organizations for over a decade. And this is one of those moments where tool combinations makes research 10 times faster overnight. Let me show you. So when you start with just a blank sheet, you're doing a ton of formatting yourself instead of saving time by copying from templates. For example, since I have a pro Gemini account, when I open a blank Google worksheet, what you see is it already is giving me prompts to help with like creating tables. But what I want to do is I want to actually go up to Gemini and ask it to help me with some templates. For this, instead of starting off with a blank Google worksheet, I'm going to have it create an event planning template for me. So what I've asked it to do is create an event planning template for me where on one tab, I want it to have key milestones, and on the next tab, I want it to have a sponsorship outreach. Now, this is something I could have easily created myself, but by asking it to create the template for me, you'll see how fast it's going to draft it. Something I just couldn't even do manually, so duh, why not do that and save time? But B, it's also going to give me some additional prompts of things I may have forgot about, right? So here we have the milestone, task and name, the target date, who it's assigned to. That all makes sense. What I like here is it added these different true or false statements of like if it's complete, but most importantly, I love this part of the dependencies. Again, why these templates are great is if you don't like anything in here, you can just easily go through and say, hey, I want to, delete this column. I don't need it. But it has ideas for columns that I wouldn't have thought of, which makes it fantastic. So again, starting with just a blank template where you make everything from scratch, it's time to just ask for exactly what you want and start there. The other wrong thing I see people do with Gemini and Google Sheets is copy and pasting from Gemini to Google Sheets. The great part, again, Google integrates their products. And so I open up a blank sheet, I have Gemini right here, and let's say I want to create a meal plan for the new year. So here I asked it to create a weekly meal plan for me based on a 2,000 calorie diet. Again, I want it to be super friendly for me as a busy person. This is something that a lot of people ask for in Gemini or in their favorite LLM. Instead of doing this directly in the LLM, I can do it in the Google worksheet, which is already integrated, and it will fill it into the spreadsheet. Here you can see it first asks me if I like it, I don't, or if I want to insert it. I'm going to go ahead and just start by inserting it into the spreadsheet. What is great about this is, again, I have options to create different views, look at it by breakfast, lunch, dinner. If this was something that I copy and pasted from Gemini just by itself, it wouldn't have created a formatted table where I have different views. I also have different filters if I want to. I can save this view, but most importantly, I have my meal plan. I also have some snack options. So I have exactly what I want in a formatted spreadsheet. This may seem simple, saving a few seconds, minutes, maybe even formatting from copy and pasting, but it's this type of work compounded over time that's going to make a difference for you and compared to the other people that you work with. I have worked as a data scientist for over 10 years, and one of the biggest things that we do all the time is just clean, messy data. This is where AI really shines and can help. So I have here a sample sales data spreadsheet. And what we can easily see is we have, simple, messy data. Name is all over the place. I have blank information, phone numbers formatted differently. Like everything is formatted differently, which is fine for a human because we can interpret and see that, oh yeah, if you write this 1/15/2024 versus Jan 17, even though one's a number and one's spelled out, it's both saying a date. However, for computers and computer models and just doing things that look clean, this does not work good. So we need to clean this up. This is something that I do all the time, which is clean up messy data. The first thing I'm going to do is clean up the names. And instead of trying to figure out a formula for that, which I could, I'll show you how to do that easily. So I'm simply just going to ask it to reformat this column. Again, it is to capitalize the first name and to capitalize the last name. Now, something that you may see here is you may get some errors. And so you may need to troubleshoot this. I'm just going to tell it, hey, it's not working, fix it. Other option that you can do is use a special formula in Google Sheets, and that is just equals AI. And when you click that, what it will do is it will ask you for your prompt. And so you can just write your full prompt in here. So here, all I'm going to say is capitalize the names, and then it shows me kind of what to do. I'm going to have a comma, and then I'm going to have the range for which it goes through. And then just like any formula, I'm going to put my parentheses there. Okay, so what we're going to do is we just add in our prompt, capitalize the name. We have the cell that we wanted in. And just like we do with other formulas, formulas, we can pull it straight down. You can see it generating AI cells, so it's working. And then it takes a little bit longer, but it does capitalize each name. So what we've done here is shown you how you can clean up some of your data either through using the formula AI, or you can clean up some of your data by just using Gemini by itself in Google Sheets. After we've cleaned up our data, one of the most important things we can do is visualize it. Again, this is a place that Gemini can help us. So I have different sales information and I want to know how many products of which quantity have we sold. So I've just asked Gemini to create a bar graph of a count of each product that we have sold. It gives me a little preview here. I can open it up, desk clamp. It also shows me how many. And then what I can do is just take this and insert it into my worksheet. The next portion that we often do in data analysis, particularly in spreadsheets, is an EDA. So it's an exploratory data analysis. An EDA has many different things in it, a summary statistics and looking for any outliers. But instead of just performing each of those calculations and functions on our own, we can simply ask Gemini to do that for us. So all I asked it to do was to create an exploratory data analysis of this information and put it on a new tab. And here we can see a couple different graphs. One, they have total revenue by product. We also have a count of the orders by state. And then we have the distribution of order status. What's great about this is if I didn't even think of all the ways that I wanted to summarize this data, it has easily done this for me. So it's not just being like a coding partner or an analysis partner, but most importantly, it's acting as a thought partner. Here, it also started to do a write-up of the data and the information and start to, in a way, create a report for me. This is something that would have taken me at least like half a day to be able to do. And most importantly, it wouldn't look this good. If you want more workflows like this, I break down AI tools every week in my weekly newsletter. The link is in the description. Okay, so it's time to be honest about some of the issues that we find in Google Sheets plus Gemini. And one of those is, yes, it's still a little buggy, but we can work through that. The biggest issue that I see people have is not being able to validate their data. So if you are a data person or if you're not a data person, you need to make sure you can actually validate the results that it's giving you. Again, these LLM models are fantastic and they're great thought partners, they're great collaborators. But at the end of the day, it's our responsibility as a user to make sure that information that we're sending out is correct. If you cannot do that with the tools that you are using and you're just having it create different functions for you, do different formulas, and you don't know how to validate it, you should not be using this. For example, I have done this once where I was looking at information and data from a client and I had no way or no context to know if this information was correct. The problem with this is I couldn't validate it. And so I presented information that ended up not being correct. And it was just, let's say, not a good situation that none of us wanted to be in. You were going to quietly walk out of the room. Okay. If that's the case for you, don't use these formulas or don't use these tools. You need to be able to validate your information and you need to be able to validate your data. And tools like this only matter if you know what questions to ask and how to validate your data. That's the human part. My newsletter link is in the description if you want more workflows like this. And if you're still using ChatGPT, check out my most recent Claude workflow. I show you when to use which tools and why. And so stay curious, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next one.